Well, how y'all are this afternoon? It's your buddy George Jones over here in what my wife calls that junk hole down at the end of the hallway. Um, it's still raining. Uh, we ain't floated away yet, but there's a few people have. Recently, a gentleman came into the store, and I happened to be there, and he had a Ruger Mark 1, RST-1. This is a Mark 2, but he had a 1. Now, the difference between the 1 and the 2 basically is bolt hold open. That's this thing right there. So when you've got a magazine in it, it actuates that guy up when the magazine is empty and holds the bolt open. That's basically the difference between a Mark 1 and a Mark 2. It's basically the difference between a standard model. On the standard model, it just doesn't have bolt hold open. On the Mark 1, you can actuate the safety manually and hold the bolt open. On the Mark 2, we have a bolt stop arrangement where the magazine is depleted and it stays the rear. Basically, the 1, the 2, and the original standard model manufactured from 1947 to about 1968, all three of the guns are basically the same. So with small improvements. Now, the Mark III, I didn't get one of those, don't have one of them. The Mark III has a magazine button release right here, where it would be on a 1911. And, or rather, right here, where it be on a 1911. It requires a different magazine. I've got like 20 Mark II mags, Mark I, Mark II mags. So, you know, I'd have to get that going again in a different model gun, I'd have to buy back all them magazines. So I've never bothered to get a Mark III or a Mark IV. Anyway, the issue with it is how to get it back together after you get it apart. And we're going to talk about that. So we have to disassemble. You have this little lever right here, which is on your mainspring housing. Find something sharp, or I think the book recommends a string. Capture it with a string. But you get something there and pry that guy up and open it up like this. Then you can pull that guy up and then get a hold of it like this and pull it out there. And that pin on the mainspring housing is basically what's holding the gun together. That and a wedge in the front. Everybody pretty much gets that, but they don't get the part where you put it back together. So if I can find some light here, find any light, there's hundreds of little flashlights around here. We'll look inside this guy and see what the holdup is. And what the holdup is, and get it up to the camera. What the holdup is that little hammer strut right there. See, it flops over there. That little hammer strut. And that little hammer strut has to go in this guy. There's a plunger right down here. Right down here, there's a plunger that's the top of the mainspring. And that little spot right there is where the hammer strut has to go in order for the gun to go back together right. So what you have to do is you have to manipulate the hammer strut in such a way that it will go in there. Basically, the trick to it is this. You come over here and the hammer strut is fully forward, up in the front of the gun. I can't even see it there. I'm trying here, if I can, get it to work. There it is, the hammer strut, if you can see it. It's this little guy right in here. Okay. And then on top of that, of course, is the hammer. And you've got to put it together correctly. So the way you go about this is you let the hammer pull the trigger so that the hammer will go fully forward. Bump it a little bit, get it fully forward. Then you reinsert your retainer pin up into the hole in the top of the gun through the bottom. Like that. Push that guy in there all the way. Okay. Now, with that guy hanging in there, you turn the gun upside down and get the hammer strut to flop over into a position. You can see it there now. Get the hammer strut to flop over to a position that when you close this groove in here will guide the hammer strut into position. Okay? Come over just like that. Push it in there. Now, when you get it pushed in position, you'll be able to feel the spring tension on its start. Okay? That lets you know you've got it in there right. Okay? But before you close it up, come over here and mash it in with your heel of your hand and pull the slide back, pull the bolt back, and see if it'll work. And if it works, you're good. Snap it, there you go. Take the spring tension off of it. Then push it all the way in and push your lever up, lock lever up, and that'll cam it up in there. And it's back together. And that's where people find that issue. It's getting that hammer strut into the right position. And you just about have to put it, the mainspring housing and retainer bolt, cross bolt, that's this little piece here that goes in through the bottom, and then turn the gun upside down so that the hammer strut will fall over to where when you close the mainspring housing into the grip of the gun, you know, it'll align and go back together. Or if you're getting stuck, come over to the store. I'll charge you $25 to put it back together. No, I don't do that. I mean, you know, I don't charge people to. And you know, if you get stuck, bring your gun by. Give me a call. You know, come by the store. I'll teach you how to do it where you've got a little bit more detail. You can see it a little bit better. But that's, hopefully you can see it well enough on camera to get the idea. I'm not exactly what you call a cinematographer. I just make these videos trying to help people out. So if you like what I'm doing and you're new to the channel, likeify, commentate, sharenate, and subscribe. I have a buddy named Chuck. He's got a channel, and he does old tractors. That's his thing. And he's like, I'm gonna repairify it, you know. And he says, ask people to subscribe. He says, subscribe. And when I first heard that, I just fell out of the chair. That was just hilarious. So, you know, like, share, comment, subscribe, you know, like it, take, sharify, commentate, and subscribe. Almost break 600 pretty soon. They'll run down to the 1,000 subscribe gun giveaway. All ATF rules apply. If you like my videos, share them. If you don't like my videos, don't watch them. If I don't say the right thing at the end of the video, or don't give the correct description of the firearm, or have a blooper, leave me a comment. I do not qualify myself as a firearms expert. People say all the time, Danny Plowder said, he's our resident gun expert. Throw the brakes on there, buddy. Here's the deal. I qualify myself as a highly knowledgeable person. The firearms technology started changing at the end of World War II and just accelerated. Manufacturing techniques, design, makes, models, types, brands, calibers, ballistics, manufacturing techniques. It changes so fast that no person could reasonably say at any given time in the present that they're an expert. You may be a ballistics expert, you may be a machining expert, you may be a manufacturing expert, you may be all kinds of experts. But there's so much involved in it that you can't reasonably say you're an expert. Okay? All right, then. That's about the size of it. Hope this helps out a little bit. We'll see y'all.